I'm going to be talking about the UFC Fight Night Volkov vs Aspinall prelim headliner of Jai Herbert vs Ilia Topuria. And first off, this matchup being made really made me scratch my head. I was really confused when I seen this was made. My first thought is, how is Jai Herbert going to make featherweight on such short notice? Because I knew he was going to be fighting on the London card. But then I realised, I checked, and it was Ilia Topuria going up to lightweight, which really surprised me because Ilia used to be a bantamweight, and he's not the biggest featherweight either, so it really surprised me that he'd be going up to lightweight. But apparently this isn't a full-time thing. He just wants to be as active as possible, and the weight cut at featherweight doesn't help him be as active as he wishes he could be, so he's apparently going to go up from lightweight and featherweight on and off. Sort of like Khamzat Chimaev did when he first debuted, where he debuted against John Phillips. Then the next week he was a welterweight against Reece McKee, and then fought GM3 at middleweight, and then he just beat the Leech at welterweight, and now he's fighting Gilbert Burns. So I don't think lightweight is going to be the division for Topuria. He might get a few favourable matchups at lightweight, but just his size alone, I wouldn't like to see him stick around there. He'd be very undersized, but he's a very skilled fighter. But anyway, this fight's going to look very hilarious, though. If you look at the stats, Jai Herbert is 6'1" with a 77-inch reach against Topuria, who is 5'7" with a 69-inch reach. And it's going to look pretty crazy at the weigh-ins when you see them face off. Jai, I think, fought a few welterweight fights, but don't think he was ever a career welterweight or anything. He fought at the amateurs as a welterweight, but don't think he did as a pro, or at least not much as a pro. But yeah, there's definitely going to be a big height and reach advantage for Jai Herbert, but on a skill advantage, a power advantage, a chin advantage, and yeah, I would go with Topuria on those advantages. Besides size and reach, I don't really see much upside for a Jai Herbert pick. I think Topuria is going to knock him out in the first round. His chin is shown to be not the greatest chin. Got knocked out by Trinaldo, who admittedly hits pretty hard, but then almost got knocked out by Moicano, who also is a pretty good striker, but just the way he's getting hurt so easily is just, you can tell that it's not just the people he's fighting, it's just his chin in general. And Topuria can hit hard. If you've seen his knockout of Damon Jackson, he really, you can tell how much better Jackson is when he's fighting other fighters than when he was fighting Topuria. He's taking shots from Kirk, Charles Rosa, Bektik, and he's not getting folded. Admittedly, he did get knocked out by that Dagestani guy in PFL with a flying knee in 10 seconds, but again, that's a flying knee, so not many people survive that. But yeah, he's got a decent chin, and Topuria cracked him. So I think we're going to get Topuria going to the body and then going upstairs again like he did to Jackson. And then, yeah, he's just going to tee off and get Jai Herbert out of there. But he could also mix it up with the grappling. Herbert's takedown defense hasn't looked the greatest, in my opinion. And Topuria, from what I've heard from other fighters and some of my Georgian friends, is that he's apparently very strong, to other people, in weight classes above, and that, he gives them some trouble. Sort of how AKA talks about Islam and Habib ragdolling middleweight, so you got to take it with a grain of salt. But I think he could have success with the ground if he wants to, but even on the feet, if he gets close to him and he just goes to that body of Herbert and opens up the head, he can chin him. This could either be a really quick knockout for Topuria, in my opinion, or he could just grapple him and tire him out, or even maybe get a finish on the ground. But I think this is going to be a pretty somewhat dominant fight for Topuria, unless he gets him out of there quick. But Herbert's got a chance, when an 8-inch reach advantage. If he can keep his distance, maybe land a head kick on something on the smaller man like Topuria. But even then, you throwing kicks against Topuria, he's going to just try and catch your leg and take you down. Could get a DAS or something like that on the ground. But yeah, I definitely favour Topuria here. And I'm going to pick Ilia Topuria by first round TKO or KO. And after this, I really don't know what Topuria is going to do. I think he should go back down to featherweight. And then I don't really know who you could match him up with. Because maybe Cub Swanson. But then again, I think Cub Swanson's going to be fighting Uriah Faber at bantamweight. So it depends what Topuria wants to do. Like, I don't know what his plans are at being active in both divisions. If that's just a way to test his skills against the bigger guys or what. But maybe you could put him against the winner of Evelev versus Ige. You know, he was booked against Evelev in January, but then, you know, he got COVID, and then he pulled, and then he was meant to fight Jourdain, but he had problems with the weight, and the commission wouldn't let him fight. So, yeah, it's going to be really weird what they book for Ilia Topuria next, unless he does like a really big call out or something like that. But yeah, to be very interesting to see what he does next. And if for Jai Herbert, unless they're planning on coming back to the UK early, this could be the last we see of Jai Herbert in the UFC, which would really be a shame because he's just been giving nothing but killers in all of his fights. The UFC really just threw him into the deep end. Like, you lose to Francisco Trinaldo and then they decide to give you Renato Moicano. Like, that is some really whack matchmaking. You go from... Also got to add Trinaldo missed weight in that fight too. So you're fighting pretty much a welterweight Trinaldo in there, and they give you a killer in Moicano. Like, the UFC either have a really big problem with him or they really want to see him succeed in the upper portion of the division. But hopefully they give him another go if he loses this, because there's no shame in losing to Topuria, because at a minimum this man is a top 10 featherweight. I don't know about his success at lightweight, but this man is really good, and anybody who has an eye for the sport can tell Topuria is something special. But yeah, I got Topuria by first round TKO here, or KO. But yeah, just hopefully this is as funny as I think it's going to look in that cage. But yeah, this should be a good fight. So yeah, Topuria first round KO. Catch it.